What's up, guys? How's everyone doing today? I just came out here about, I don't know, maybe 5-10 minutes ago to start working on the car. The intake still had not come in yet, but it was supposed to be here any minute now. So I came out here about 5 or 10 minutes ago to go ahead and start pulling the old one off, and could not have asked for better timing, because 2 minutes after I came out here, the intake came in. So you can see here, we've got the intake. I did end up just going with a Dorman intake. I know I talked about ordering the Victor Jr. I thought about it, but the Victor Jr., all said and done, to install it, all the other miscellaneous parts you need, is about $1,200 grand total. I probably would have had to wait a week or two for that to come in, and I got a race next week and I'm trying to get this car ready for. So one, time-wise, I really didn't want to have to wait a few weeks and for the car to be down for a few weeks because I got another race next weekend. And two, like I said, it's about $1,100-1,200. This one, I was able to have it in like 2 days, and it's only $150. Also, additionally, engine-wise, the car is basically bone stock. I mean, it's got a ported throttle body, and that's it. And I've read several places where those Victor Juniors actually tend to lose a little bit of power on an otherwise stock motor. So those Victor Junior intakes really are for modified cars. So again, eventually I'll be going to one, but I really don't need one right now, and I was able to get this for a fraction of the cost and half the time. So that's why I went with another OEM intake I'm just going to slap on for now. The other box here, I hadn't mentioned this yet, but I've also got new shocks and struts for it as well. Going over potholes and whatnot, it's had a weird little shimmy. I've also heard a little bit of a clunking and autocross from time to time, and I'm pretty sure it's worn out front shocks. The car's got 297. It's got almost 300,000 miles on it, and I bought the car with 280, but I have no clue when the last time the shocks were replaced. So I went ahead and got new shocks and struts for it. So we're going to do new shocks and struts and new OEM intake manifold. So hopefully, I'll definitely have the intake manifold done for this weekend. I don't know if I'm going to have time to do the shocks and struts before my autocross this weekend. So we'll see. So cue the time lapse. Alright, so got the old intake off. I've been looking at them, comparing the new one to the old one, debating what to do with it, slap it on, let it ride, or do a little work to it. So, see here, the old intake and the new one. Now the old one's got some kind of rubber, used to be rubber, now it's hard and as brittle as can be. It's just chipping apart. I don't know why Ford put this on here. I don't know if it was like a heat shield or what. Obviously, this will not be going on. Yes, yeah. This, yeah, it's got insulation on the inside. So I guess it was a heat shield that Ford put on them to try to keep the heat from the plenum down there. I'm not obviously going to put this on a new one. Even if I wanted to, I think it would fall into 1,000 pieces. But looking at the ports on there, I'm not really thrilled with the ports on this new one. So every single one of them, you look at it, see they all have this lip here, and they're super thick on the backside. The outside edge of them isn't too bad, but the inside edge, every single one of them's got this big huge lip on it, and it's really thick on the back side. Like I said, it's on every single one of them. So I was kind of thinking about just kind of porting out the back side. I don't even know how much I'll touch on this outside edge, but on the inside edge here, just kind of port these out just a little bit, mainly just smooth out that little bump that's on every single one of them. Because you can see the factory one is not like that. The factory ones are nice and smooth on every single hole. And where's my dowel caliper? I did pull that out and look at it. And I was curious what the overall size is. And you see here, this one, and I'll put this over here, it's actually got a little bit of wiggle room. So it's actually slightly bigger that direction. Now, if I measure this way across here, though, right, some very edge, yep, right there, quite a bit smaller that way. But I'm guessing it probably has to do with all that material back there on that outside edge or inside edge there. So it is smaller that direction, and then same thing on the other side. This one, though, I measured it, actually was like the same. So put it right there on the edge. See, this one's like pretty much dead on the same size. So I don't know. Maybe overall, I guess it's same size ports. So I'm going to pull out the Dremel, though, and just try to, like I said, I'm not even really porting it, but just kind of cleaning up the opening, cleaning out all these rough edges and all these casting defects, basically. And then once I do that, I'll throw it in the car. So I hadn't actually flipped them over and compared the top side of the intakes, and I flipped them over and almost immediately noticed they're two completely different runner designs. So you can see the stock OEM one here, the runners come from the opposite side of the plenum, so they've got long runners. Whereas this one, we've got short runners going straight from the same side to that intake port. So it looks like this Dorman is a shorter runner. I don't know if it's considered a short run intake, but it's a shorter runner than this OEM one, which looks more like a long runner style. So I don't know how much of a difference that would make. I mean, typically longer runners make more torque, where short runner intakes make more horsepower, higher RPM band. Okay, so I just finished the first one, so just did one. You can see how much I've opened that one up, though, compared to that and that. I'm just gonna get a better light. So, see all the casting defects and all up in there too with this light, but you can see the difference between those two ports. So I'll go ahead and do all the rest of them, just open them up, open up the mouth of them really. I know it looks kind of rough in there, but it feels pretty smooth. So just feeling up in there, I mean, it's pretty smooth now, whereas this one here, see right there, there's a lip. Right there, there's another lip. So there's a bunch of rough edges and whatnot just in the casting. So really all I did was just opened up that mouth of it and cleaned up all the casting defects in there to smooth it out. So, like I said, I don't know if it's going to do anything. I mean, honestly, being realistic, best case scenario, maybe three or 4 horsepower. I mean, like I said, I'm not doing a true port on this, so it's not like it's going to be 10 or 15 horsepower or anything like that. I mean, maybe on a good day, I think what I'm doing might help 4 or 5 horsepower maybe, but I feel better about it. So all right, let me knock out the other 7. All right, so it's the next day. I wasn't able to get it finished up last night. Hopefully we can do that tonight, though. So here's where I'm at on it right now. Last night I got the intake manifold off, cleaned up the ports a little bit on the car, they really didn't have too much built up, but they did have a little, so I got those cleaned up. And I got the ports on this ported, the runners. Got the runners on this Dorman intake ported. So like I said, we'll see how it does. I'm curious to get it to the track once I get this on to see, because I know these Dorman intakes tend to lose a little bit of power. I'm wondering if maybe porting it, maybe it'll compensate for that. Maybe it'll be about the same. We'll see. So I just got to hit it with some 80 grit today to smooth it all out a little bit, but most of it's all done, so it'll probably take me 15-20 minutes to just hit all these with some 80 grit, smooth those out, and then start getting it on the car. Once I get that on, if I have time tonight, I've got the struts to install, and then I got to swap out the wheels and tires. It's still got the drag set up on it from streetcar bragging rights last weekend. I've got autocross this weekend, so there's my autocross set of 245 Falcon Zeniths. Now I've run 285s on my daily, but I just got 245s on the stock Steelies because I was wanting to keep the car in street class one more year. And to stay in street class, you have to have factory size wheels. You can run any size tire that fits on factory wheels. So I'm running 245. All right, back to the time lapse. All right, well, that is as good as it's going to get. All right, there it is. So, some of those look pretty rough still, but they all feel pretty smooth. So I'm a lot happier with it. So who knows? This porting that might make absolutely no difference at all, but hey, you know what? At least I feel better about it. So, because it was, like I said, you saw it before. It was pretty bad, so better than it was. Ain't gonna hurt at least, right? So now time to start getting it put back on. All right, here we go again. All right, so not quite ready to start it yet, but I am going to go ahead and turn the key on. Before I go any further, check for fuel leaks. I'd rather go ahead and do that now. Make sure all those injectors are sealed. So I'm going to go ahead and turn key on, engine off, and check for any leaks before I finish buttoning everything up. Not smoking, and so far no check engine lights. I'm impressed. Let's make sure there's no leaks. I feel like I smell gas. Alright guys, so I got the car back together and running last night. I actually haven't taken it for a test drive yet, but everything hopefully should be good. I cranked it up, let it run in the driveway, got it up to temp, let it run for about another 5 or 6 minutes after it got up to temp, and everything looks good, no leaks, nothing like that, so should be good to go with that. Now today I'm going to try to do two things. One, I'm going to get these struts in, but another thing I want to do, I actually did the passenger seat a while back, but I'm going to try to do the driver's seat today. So again, I've mentioned trying to keep the sleeper look with this, so maybe eventually I'll go to race seats, but I don't really want to do race seats right now. So I've actually taken these factory seats and added bolstering to it. I don't know how well you can see it on the camera. You can see especially this leg one down here, how much bolstering it's got there. And I added some more to the back as well. So today we're going to do the driver's seat. I don't know, again, don't know if you can already see on camera, but it's got a lot less bolstering than this passenger seat does. I did the passenger seat first, kind of as a trial and error thing to see how it worked, and it actually worked out really well. So now we're going to do the driver's seat. The only thing I've done in the driver's seat, a while back I did cut out the lumbar support on both seats. So without the lumbar support in here, you sit further down, like further back into the seat, so that alone helps a little. But I've cut the lumbar support out, and then I added additional bolstering on both the legs and the back right here. So I'm going to do the driver's seat tonight. Alright, so here's where we're at so far. We've got the intake on, that's done. Both new struts are in, that's done. And I've got the seat out. I'm about to reupholster, add some bolstering to that now. So while I was doing the front struts, I did find my issue, that clanking noise I mentioned that I was having during hard corners and sometimes going over potholes and whatnot. I'm sure it is going to help quite a bit in the autocross tomorrow having these new struts, but the issue is upper control arm bushings. Because it felt like it was more on the passenger side, and I noticed while doing the struts, I thought about ordering upper control arms. I should have, but I didn't. The passenger side upper control arm bushings are completely shot, so that's going to be that clanking I've been having. But as for the struts though, the driver side front strut, so my left front strut was also completely blown out. You can see all the grease and buildup on it. I don't know how we can see it on the camera, but that was also blown out. So my left strut was pretty bad, but my right upper control arm is also bad. So I'll be doing the upper control arms next. But let me go ahead and get the seat apart so we can get started on that. Okay, so I was just going to clean the car out while I had the seat out. Interesting find. So I've taken the passenger seat out plenty of times, but I started thinking about it, and I've actually never had the driver's seat out. First time I've ever had the driver's seat out of the car. So of course it is a mess underneath there. But this was actually a former law enforcement vehicle, was actually in service. I believe it was a Lawrence County Sheriff's car. But I just found underneath the driver's seat, this is a badge for the Criminal Justice Academy basic detention class. So Ralph Braswell Jr. basic detention. So interesting, someone lost their ID badge, and I just found it underneath the seat of this Crown Vic. Alright, so I've got the seat apart. See here, we've got an airbag on this side, so I'm going to leave that airbag alone and just shove some more padding back up behind it, underneath it. On this side, boom, just cut a little strip of foam, put there, and same thing on these bottoms. So piece of foam, I'm just going to cut a little strip of it and put the strip on each side to make it a little bit thicker, making these factory seats more supportive. Alright, I've only done one side on the legs. Hopefully you can see the difference. So see that compared to that. So there's the stock factory side, and there's just the padding I've added. See, it sticks up a lot higher. So do that on all four sides. Alright folks, it is done. Intake manifolds on, struts, shocks and struts are installed, wheels, tires swapped over, The bolsters on the seat are done. So it is ready to rock and roll for tomorrow. So that's all I got for now. Till next time. Alright guys, let's get into today's verse of the day. Today's verse comes from Hebrews chapter 6 verse 10. God is not unjust, and he will not forget the work and the love you have shown him, as you have helped his people and continue to help them. Again, Hebrews chapter 6 verse 10. Till next time, have a good day and stay blessed.